Hello, bienvenidos, and welcome to Football by the Numbers. I am Statman John, your host, and joined with me are Andrew the Pro and my good friend Willard. Will, how are you doing today? I tried to think of a name for you. I'm sorry. I had one in my head, and it was just gone.
It's all good. No, I'm great. I'm excited that we've seen so many upsets in Euros and had so many dramatic finishes, so couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that our predictions didn't work out. I'm a little more brokenhearted that Germany didn't beat England like they have the past 55 years. You know, we move. I guess we have a new coach now, and we'll talk about that in an upcoming video. Andrew, the pro soccer player, or soon to be future former pro soccer player. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing fantastic. You know, I can't complain. We've got all kinds of soccer going on. Belgium's still in the race. You know, I'm looking good. We got some of the big games coming this weekend. I just can't wait, man. And I'm finally back.
I should have taken your advice on Belgium over Portugal. I just thought that the group of death winners might not be completely drained and have something to show this tournament, but clearly
they have nothing.
They have nothing. Nothing anymore. Nothing matters anymore. So we're moving on to a different tournament entirely. Okay. We're moving on to a different tournament entirely. We're going to talk to you today about the Gold Cup. Now, the Gold Cup consists of 28 teams from CONCACAF. 27 of those teams are from CONCACAF. So CONCACAF is the North American equivalent to UEFA, which is the international governing body of North American football. So 27 North American countries are invited, plus one additional country from around the world. And this year it's drum roll please, Qatar.
Yay! So exciting.
I almost went off the cuff and dissed our wonderful 2022 World Cup hosts that built stadiums with people that they didn't hardly pay, other than with maybe whippings. To build cities, to build stadiums to handle this World Cup that's going to take place in 130-degree weather in the summer. But anyway, they are invited to the Gold Cup this year to help participate. And we will be taking you through the groups. We will be walking. But what I really wanted to talk to you guys about was, of course, our favorites, the homeboys, the home team, the U.S. men's national team. And you see that I'm wearing a Bayern jersey. Bayern jersey's in the background. There is a reason. There's a method to this madness. You know, Ricardo Pepe, I believe, was scouted by Bayern. Justin Shea is going to be going back to Bayern. That's going to happen this summer. But I want to know, how did you guys react to the announcement that we aren't taking any of our big pros, like Christian Pulisic, like Tyler Adams, like Weston McKennie, like John Brooks, Zach Steffen, Ethan Horvath? They're all not going. What do you guys think of that? Why aren't we going balls to the wall and all out for the Gold Cup this year?
Partially, I think it's because we technically qualified with the Nations League win, right? Am I correct there?
Yeah, you mean qualify for the 2022 World Cup with the Nations League win. Yes, I believe the winners, who was, of course, the men's national team, and the runners-up, who were Mexico, both qualified. Justifiably so. We are the two best teams in the CONCACAF division, I would argue.
So I feel like that fed into the likeliness of them kind of resting some of these stars. You know, you've got Christian Pulisic that has consistently struggled with injuries, and we can see with what's happened with Hazard exactly what happens when you kind of rush back or you don't do it properly. You start to see injuries happening every couple of months, and we don't want Christian to get to that. Yeah, so maybe just resting it. You had Steffen that went deep into the Premier League for Man City. I know he didn't get a whole lot of playing time, but training can be hard there. And, you know, these big star names like Dest and all of them, they've been playing a lot of minutes. So, honestly, they're probably just giving them a break.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're getting a break. But I'm glad you brought up Steffen, because I'm almost glad that he's being left out. And Will, I want to come to you on this. We're seeing the old guard get called up a lot, with Josie Altidore making making the preliminary roster that was supposed to be released today, but I'm sure will be released later tonight. That's supposed to be released at the time of recording here. But this will give some good opportunities to some other players as well. I saw Matt Turner on there. Do you think he deserves at least some competition for the starting role?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, he's lighting up the MLS right now. Stefan's given us some concerns with mistakes he's made during matches. I think the door is open for maybe Horvath or Matt Turner to potentially take that spot, and we can finally see what we've really got in Matt Turner, whether he can step up. So looking forward to seeing how he does.
Completely agree. And Will, I want to come back to you again. What are some other names that really stick out to you on this provisional roster that you think deserve to get some playing time and deserve to make the final 23-man roster for the Gold Cup? It could be 26, but who do you want to see make this final team? Who do you want to see make the final cut?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of young names that I'm excited about, but I want to focus more on some of the vets that I think could crack like the World Cup squad. You've got Walker Zimmerman, who could maybe play alongside John Brooks in the center backs now that Aaron Long has his injury. Maybe Chris Mueller, Andrew's boy, is a backup winger on the squad. Hasn't had the greatest season in the MLS so far, but I still have faith in him.
Well, he's not much of a winger. That's his struggle.
And then also you've got guys like George Bello, who could maybe be that starting left back for the starting men's national team squad.
Yeah,
and then
we've traditionally had some problems with that left back position. So yeah, the George Bello situation could really work out well if he finds his international form.
No, those are just a few. I mean, I'll also give a shout to Eric Williamson, who's having a great year in MLS with Portland Timbers. Maybe he's a backup, 8 in the midfield. See if Julian Green has found his form in Germany. See what he's got after so many years away from the team.
Return of the Green.
Honestly, I kind of like seeing that, though. It shows that coach is leaving a lot of avenues open and that there's kind of many opportunities for players to get a chance, whether you've been out of it for 10 years or you've been barely breaking the cusp.
Again, Andrew, you're bringing me into an excellent segue, talking about giving players a chance and giving them some minutes on the first team. Why don't we just say F it this tournament and just go balls to the wall and bring players in like Jonathan Gomez, Cade Cowell I saw made the roster, Caden Clark. A couple 17 and 18-year-old guys, especially Jonathan Gomez and Cade Cowell, who have been called up to or allegedly being scouted by Mexico and getting the call up. Why don't we call them up, give them some game time, and make sure that they're locked into the United States national team for years to come? A couple other guys I see on here too. Kyle Duncan, your boy Caden Clark's right back over there at the New York Red Bulls. That could be a good option for us at right back, because I know that I think Reggie Cannon was our right back for the Nations League, and he had some questionable moments as well. Some other names I'm seeing on here. I mean, I'm not saying totally go in and just take like the entire under 23 roster or something like that. I think Leggett deserves a place on this roster. I think Josie Altidore absolutely does not deserve a place on this roster.
You know who I'm glad I didn't see?
Michael Bradley.
Yes, sir.
That's what Will and I were talking before you actually got on this Zoom call, and I said, you know what, if we're going to call Josie Altidore, why not just get Clint Dempsey and Michael Bradley out of retirement and just drag them out on the field and put a walker in front of him and just let them play.
We are officially done with the Michael Bradley era. Let's take a moment of silence. All right, we're good.
Yeah, I'd much rather see Jossie Zardes back on the field than Josie Altidore. And that's no offense to Josie Altidore. He's done a great service to this country, but your time is up, man. It's time to pass the torch and move on. I'd also like to see Bayern boy Justin C. DK absolutely deserves some time on here, especially...
Continue, John. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, especially when we make it out of the group stages, DK absolutely deserves minutes, and he should get a lot of playing time and show what he has to offer for those Premier League clubs that are looking at scouting him. It was really a crime for them to ask so high a price. But, I mean, I'd love to see, Gianluca Busio, who I think has roots in Italy and has allegedly been scouted by some Serie A teams. I mentioned earlier Cade Cowell and Jonathan Gomez. Jonathan Gomez is a very young, up-and-coming left wing back or left back that we could absolutely groom to take over that left back position that's been so historically weak for us. Matthew Hoppe, over at
very excited
at Schalke. He I think he scored 6 times this year for Schalke despite their relegation. Love to see him get some minutes as well, and
he didn't play many games either.
Yeah, he didn't. I think he scored a hat trick in his debut.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he scored a hat trick against Hoffenheim when Schalke beat them 4-0 this year. It was one of their only wins.
Yeah, it was a crazy hot couple of weeks, and then he kind of cooled off. So I'd like to see how for real that was.
If he can keep it up.
Will, I'll go to you first. Am I crazy in saying this? Like, maybe not taking an entirely green, fresh team, but if it's a 26-man roster, maybe 18 of them young and fresh, and 18's a lot, and you might want to go with some leadership, but like, what if half? What if we take half younger, newer guys, half of not old guard like Altidore and Bradley, but like guys with some more experience, like Leggett. Yeah, and maybe Yule. Yule's got some playing time under his belt, but he's still pretty fresh too. But he's, he had some time in the Nations League. What, am I crazy for thinking that? What do you think, Will?
I like the idea of like 50% vets, 50% young guys to develop. But I think like extreme men's national team fans like maybe wouldn't get too excited that we weren't taking it super seriously, like trying to win the Gold Cup. How would you grade Berhalter and the team, if you had a super young roster and you get out early or much earlier than we should?
Sure, that's a good question. I would say that we just won the inaugural season of the Nations League and are allegedly qualified for the 2022 World Cup already. I would say that the Gold Cup, I mean, I hate to say that it doesn't really matter, but it doesn't really matter. We've had some good opportunities to show what the first team can do in the Nations League with the Nations League over the summer. We're resting our out and out starters, and I would say this is a good opportunity. I think I would judge Berhalter more on the amount of players he allows minutes and gets into the first team, into the men's national team for the first time, and also what talent can come from that going into the World Cup qualifiers for some really sketchy spots that we've had in the past. So like Daryl DK, if he comes out and just blows us away like he has in the past for the men's national team starting striking spot, that's a success bringing him. And I obviously think he should be brought. I think he is the up and coming striking talent. But let's say we also bring Ricardo Pepi and Matthew Hoppe, and they really show out and can provide a good alternative backup to a Josh Sargent or Jordan Sebachu, and we skip out on one of those guys because they're having an off season or a down season, or bring him in the World Cup qualifiers and see what they can do. I think also securing Jonathan Gomez and Cade Cowell, who look like really excellent talents for years to come, who are still very young, I would consider that a success over maybe going out early in the Gold Cup. Now, if we go out in the groups, there's obviously some questions to be asked. But Andrew, what do you think? How would you grade Berhalter on that if he takes more of a green team and maybe at the risk of going out early?
Honestly, I think this kind of shows that he's setting himself up for depth players for the qualifiers. To me, this kind of shows me that he knows what his starting roster is going to be for those qualifiers, and that he's going to try and kind of find some of the diamond in the roughs that deserve to kind of make that roster and continue into qualifiers. To me, it's basically like he's using Gold Cup as a tryout.
I agree.
A full sanctioned tournament tryout. So I think green, he's going to go as green as ever. I think we could be really surprised of how green he does go. Does that excite me? Yes, but also at the same time, I think it kind of does that little like backhanded slap of the Gold Cup means nothing to the U.S. when it should, because, winning cups are worth it. That's what kind of shows you that your team is in dominance and form, and it not only proves to the world that, like, hey, look, they're winning cups over there in the U.S., but also at the same time it gives your players confidence. You have them winning the first ever Nations League. Let's say they win the Gold Cup. Let's say they do awesome in qualifiers. Like, what kind of building is that for the World Cup? That's amazing. That does nothing but take your already young roster and build their confidence like this. So am I a little disappointed that some of those guys aren't going to be on the roster? Yes, because it's a way to kind of build that confidence, but also at the same time, it's exciting to see how green they're going to be. And that Bullhalter is kind of showing players like, look, show up. If you show up and you do something, like, there's going to be an opportunity for you. He's not holding a bias to older players like some of the other coaches I felt have. He's not holding bias to young players that had potential but aren't. He's kind of saying, look, let's go. What do you have, DK? Hoppy, can you do it again? Can you score a hat trick in your debut? Caden Cowell, are you ready to play for the U.S.? Do you want to do it? I think he's asking kind of those questions. Grading him as a coach for the team, I can't say I'm excited about him being the coach.
I think you make a great point about, you should take all tournaments seriously where you have a chance to win a trophy. It could be a huge confidence builder. I mean, he got so much heat when they didn't qualify for the Olympics, even though so many people said, oh, it doesn't matter. Could see that again.
Yeah, that is a good point, that it is still an international trophy, and even if it's a lesser viewed one, that there is still a trophy to be won. And I think that the ultimate grade will come down to Berhalter on how well he's balanced bringing younger guys who don't have a lot of international experience with how far he goes in the Gold Cup. And I think the expectation on him is to win it, and I think it will be forgiven if he goes to, the quarters or the semis and maybe drops out at the expense of bringing more of those younger players. I'm glad he did bring DK. I'm assuming that Daryl DK is going to be on the list. He's just too good. He's also 20 years old, so he's young enough to really make that team. And it gives you a little bit of security, because I think he probably will end up being the starting striker.
You know what this is going to test? This is going to test Bullhalter himself. How good of a coach is he? We don't have a whole bunch of slums on the team. There's some great talent in there. If he's truly the coach for the U.S. men's national team to continue to grow, and even maybe for the World Cup in 2026, this is going to be a defining factor for him. Can he take a lesser team and win a tournament with it?
I didn't actually think about that, about how he could take this young team, and if they win the tournament, then I think his image as a coach certainly improves.
Oh, 100%. It improves immensely. I mean, he takes a team with, you could say, maybe 3 guys and wins a Gold Cup. If he does that, that's impressive. That's going to be a check mark on his resume.
Well, yeah, because then you look at the national team he has right now with Pulisic and McKennie and Tyler Adams and all of these other players, John Brooks, Zach Steffen, etc., Serginho Dest, and look at how well they're playing. And then if the youngsters and the other kind of thrown together mishmash guys, which, I mean, let's face it, that's what it's going to be, is kind of a thrown together mishmash team when you don't have your nailed on starters in this, and they go out and win the Gold Cup. Questions start to be answered of, is it the players or is it the coach? So, Will, what do you think in this regard?
I mean, even though it's, our B squad, I think there's so much talent on here, even though they just don't have the chemistry together, that they should be expected to go at least semifinals, maybe past that.
There's not a whole bunch of good teams in this. I'm looking at this, and of everyone in this, okay, Canada's got some good players in Jonathan David, Alphonso Davies. Costa Rica looked all right against... It wasn't Costa Rica that played Mexico in the semifinals of the Nations League, was it?
Yes, it was.
It was? Okay, yeah, because I remember they didn't have Keylor Navas. They're with Keylor Navas, they're a different team, but they're not great still. Honduras always somehow has our number. Jamaica, they have Leon Bailey. Mexico, I mean, the only teams that I'm really worried about are Mexico, Honduras, and Canada. I'm not worried about Qatar or Martinique or St. Vincent or Trinidad and Tobago. I'm not really worried about Panama or any island nations, that we've experienced. Like there's nobody really that worries me. I'm not sure how the tables break down into knockout stages, but I could see those 4 being the final 4 teams, with maybe Costa Rica in for Honduras. I think semifinal is a reasonable expectation.
I'd agree.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're definitely not the favorite. I've heard Mexico's bringing out pretty much their A squad for Gold Cup. I guess they're upset that we beat them in Nations League, and so they want a trophy this time.
They want revenge.
Restitution and revenge. Yeah,
and we're kind of avoiding that event. We're avoiding that by not putting out our top line. It'll be interesting what this Mexico-U.S. game looks like if we meet again.
Yeah. So to kind of wrap this up here, guys, let's say out of this 59 player roster, let's pick 5 players that you want to see out there other than Daryl DK, because I think we all want to see Daryl DK some more, and we all know that he's going to be on the team. So, Will, I'll go to you first. Who do you want to see? Let's pick 5.
Always Will first. Always Will first. I see.
That's because I love him more.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
I'll say Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Let's make this harder. Each position. Make a player from each position. No?
I'll say
Yeah. Okay. We'll do one defender, one midfielder, one forward, and then you can pick either a goalkeeper or double up in some of the categories.
You know Will's going to pick a keeper, so we don't have to worry about that.
the keeper group's kind of boring outside of Matt Turner.
I was going to say, I know he's going to pick Matt Turner, so.
I am excited. Okay, Matt Turner's on there. I want to see what he's got. If he can
See, I told you.
steal Stefan's spot, I'll move on from him quick. There's not much to add there. Cameron Carter-Vickers has been playing in the championship this past year, and there's rumors of going to the EPL. I want to see if maybe he could start alongside John
He's
Brooks.
at Tottenham, isn't he?
Officially, he played this past year on loan with Bournemouth, but yeah, Tottenham's interested in keeping him this year.
They did just get Nuno Espirito Santos as their coach after a hectic window, so that he's a rather defensive coach, so that might work out for him as a provisional. But
I don't want to steal too many of your guys' players, so I'll say Julian Green in the midfield. See what's left there, and I'll say my final pick. I'll take Justin Shea.
Good. Did you pick a forward? I didn't hear you pick a forward.
I skipped the forwards because.
Well, pick 2 more. So we're gonna do 5. So you have to. Well, yeah, you got to pick 5.
He
man.
did.
You got to
He
pick
did
5
4.
from
He
this.
did 4. Pick one more.
I
Get
know
us a forward.
This will be somebody's guy. I was gonna say Matthew Hoppe. Kind of boring.
That's
pick.
perfect.
Oh, yeah,
There you go.
Yeah, good. Perfect. Andrew, let's hear you.
All right, I'll go backwards. I'm going to go forwards first because, I'm going to have to choose my boy, Caden Clark. Or they have him as a midfielder. I'm sorry. I
Yes,
apologize.
he is a
Caden
midfielder.
Clark
I guess they have
is
him
my
as a 10.
midfielder. Then forward, I'm going to be super excited. I want to see some more of Nicholas Gio. I'm really excited to see him. I've liked what I've seen out of him. And then I'm kind of excited to see Justin Chi from FC Dallas.
Justin Shea, yeah. Oh man, he
Shea.
stole my pick with the Bayern boy. But yeah, good.
I'm
no,
sorry.
That's a good one.
I know.
That's all right. I
he's
have
got-
plenty. I have plenty of others that we can just pick all 5, and then we'll just say that Greg
My
Berhalter.
final
If you don't
pick?
pick these 15, then you're doing something wrong.
I'm going to go back up to the forwards because I know I can't pick your guy, but I'm going to come up here with Chris Mueller, my boy from Wisconsin. I'm super excited to see him get some more international play here. He did really well in the games. Was it Jamaica that he played against? Or no, who was before Jamaica?
El Salvador.
El Salvador. He had 2 or 3 goals in that game. First ever appearance for the men's national team. And then I'm going to have to go back to my native position in midfielders. I'm not going to pronounce it right, but Paxton. I'm going to go with his first name. I like what he's doing in Dallas.
Those are good picks. So for my 5 to round this out, okay, real quick then, I'll rattle these off. Cade Cowell, because obviously, right?
We knew.
Ricardo Pepi, so those are 2 forwards. Gianluca Busio, I'd like to see him in the midfield. Jonathan Gomez, steal him from Mexico. And finally, to round it out, Kyle Duncan from the New York Red Bulls. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to leave a like down below. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you check out our State of the Union video, which should appear right here on this end screen. Thank you once again for watching, and we will see you next time. We are football by the numbers. Peace.